What's up guys, Bill here, and in this video I'm going to talk about inside week setups, why I like them, how to play them, okay? If you're familiar with the channel, you know I really like inside day setups, and there's a lot of similarities between these setups. Obviously the main distinction is inside weeks are longer time frames, right? So what does that mean? The major levels are going to have a little bit more strength, a little bit more reliability. You also may have to have a little more patience with the play and let them work, and you can kind of swing these a little bit. Inside days, they're mostly for day trades, right? It's right there in the name. Inside weeks, you can do short swings with, and I'm going to go through a bunch of different examples from last week. Every Sunday, I do a scan on Tradietics for inside weeks. I make a watch list of the ones I like, and I just watch them all week. And whenever they get close to the triggers, and by triggers, I mean the previous week's high and low, the range of that inside week, then I'm ready to trade them intraday. So let's talk about a few, okay? First, here we have Amazon. If you're not familiar with inside weeks or inside day setups, it's all about consolidation and stock not being able to make higher highs or lower lows compared to the day or week before. So here's our inside week candle on Amazon. As you can see, compared to the previous week, it has a lower high and a higher low. So what you do with these setups is you mark that candle's high and low. And I'm just going to do it crudely here. But these become your triggers, okay? And what you're looking for on these setups is one of three things: a breakout, a breakdown, or a range trade. Because these levels are very respected and strong, you can sometimes just trade in between them. And then you get what's ends up being a double inside week, which we have going into next week on QQQ and almost SPY by 2 cents and a few other things. There's been a lot of consolidation lately, guys. So I'm going to show you examples of breakouts, a breakdown, a range trade, and a fake out, okay? Because not every setup's perfect, and sometimes you're going to lose on some of these setups, and I want to make sure everyone sees a little bit of everything, okay? So here's Amazon. As you can see, we ended up getting a major breakout and then rejecting up here at 145. And so what does that look like on smaller time frames? Let's say we wanted to day trade Amazon. Here's one thing I like to do with inside weeks, which I also like to do with inside days, and that's use them as momentum trades when they open right near the trigger. So on Monday, Amazon, and this line's a little crude, it should be more around here based on the actual level. Basically, we opened here right around our inside week high, and we started consolidating in pre-market on Monday with this dark pool support. And you can see right off the open, boom, we broke out. And we never even came back and retested this level, which is kind of rare. A lot of times on these inside weeks, when you break out or break down, you're usually going to get a retest because they're such strong levels. But Amazon really had momentum, really broke out, and it had some other things going for it on the daily and weekly. It was in a pennant. It was holding the EMAs really well. It had a bullish lean to it. And it's okay on these inside week, just like inside day setups, to develop a thesis and kind of lean on to one way, think, okay, this is an inside week. It could go either way, but I kind of like it to the long side, or I kind of like it to the short side for whatever reason. Amazon was definitely one of those I like to the long side. And you could play momentum on these right off the open. However, Amazon gave a really good entry later in the day that I traded. And here it is. After we get this really big stick opening over the inside week high, crashing right through it, we start to consolidate in bull flag. And then we eventually break over this key 140 psych level that was also gamma exposure. And we come back and we break through and we retest. And now here we have really nice confluence of the 9 EMA on the 5-minute chart and this 140. That's where I entered. I used Amazon's strength off the open, not to try to chase it, but to just give me confidence that, okay, this stock looks great, especially because around this time of that day, SPY and a lot of other names looked kind of weak. And this was holding up pretty well, continuing to move higher as SPY and other stocks kind of traded at lows and couldn't really get any upward momentum. You find that relative strength, and you've already also broken out of an inside week. You're breaking out of a pennant on the daily. It's just a lot more conviction, and just look how smooth it was, right? So that's an example of a breakout trade on an inside week. let's talk about a breakdown. And also let's talk about, maybe if we wanted to swing something for a short term, how would we do that? All right, TDOC's a great example. When I'm looking to swing inside week plays, I'm looking for really high time frame confirmation of the breakout of the range. So as you can see here, this was our previous week's high, previous week's low. What happens here on Wednesday? We get a daily close below the inside week low. This is a inside week breakdown. So what would I do here if I was interested in TDOC, especially if, coming into the week, I thought maybe this is a good short side setup, and that's kind of what I was favoring on this break. I'd be looking to take puts towards the end of the day when I knew that we were going to confirm here. And then I'm just holding, and my risk is going to be a daily close back inside. That would be a fake out, a breakdown fake out. Well, what do we get? Here's that retest I'm kind of talking about, that we never got on Amazon after the upside breakout. You're going to get it more often than not. We don't get it here, or we do get it here, but we pass it, right? Wick over, close, and more down continuation. So I would be looking on that Wednesday to grab, a couple weeks out, if not monthlies, on these cons, and just trying to let them work for a little while, at least to the end of the week. And you can see that by the time we get to Friday, we had a nice move all the way down to 21, and your entry's just under 22. That's a really nice trade on TDOC. So there's your breakdown. Let's talk about some range bound trades, or trades where you're getting to one side of the range and showing either strength or weakness, and you can play in the middle here. Let's look at coin. Here's your inside week on coin. Here's your two main levels, right? Our high and our low. As you can see, coin had a lot of issues early on in the week, wicking. And I mean, this is actually, coin is such a volatile stock that you could have made money both ways on this thing. You could have played reject and fade on Monday. On Tuesday, you could have played the breakout. It didn't last, but it made a $4 move, up till highs. You could have played the reject and fade again here on Wednesday. And then eventually, if you started to want to swing it, you would got, here's an example of a fake out. Daily close over. What happens? The next day, close back in. That's a fake out. But let's go down to like a smaller time frame here and look at coin. Go back to Monday. First candle of the day, 15-minute. When I'm watching these inside weeks on the smaller time frames to day trade them, I'm usually going to look, like I said earlier, for 10 or 15-minute candles. Look at this candle. This is nasty, right? You come up, you're testing in pre-market, can't quite get over it. Big wick, close under. There's your short trigger to play down to the other side of the range. Here's your range low. Here's your range high. We don't quite get all the way there, but that's a nice trade, right? Now, the next day, and this one, you would have had to chase this one a little bit, to be honest. But we bust right through the opening or the inside week high and get a nice continued move, and then it sells right back off and it's back under again. This day, not quite as smooth, but it's more of that weakness around the key level and fading. That's a bit of a fake out, close over, close under. This is not the type of price action you want to see. And when you're in trades like this, you end up getting stopped out, but it's small losses, right? Like even if you thought, okay, I'm going to go long here, nice volume, 15-minute close over, maybe we're going to get another breakout. Next 15-minute, you close in, small loss, right? And chop the rest of the week. But those are examples of where you can trade the range. You start to see, a reject, and you can do the same thing at the bottom. If we had come down here and there was a big wick under, close over, and there's volume on that candle, you could buy calls here and play it to the top of the range, back the other way. One last example would be Google. There was a fake out on Google. Just so you guys can kind of see how these look and know what to do in those situations. Here was our inside week, high and low. And as you can see, what's nice about Google going into next week is it did end up finishing its week outside of the range, confirming that breakout. But interweek, it's also an inside day too. So lots of consolidation on Google. earlier in the week, we had a fake out, right? We had this candle. So this would be another example of, let's say, you started a short swing here. You'd lose on this swing, at least the way I play it. I'd be looking for continuation, and my risk would be if we close back inside, and we did. And then the next day, right back testing it, then back over. So this is an example where on the more macro level, this level was a little bit tricky, a little choppy around. It's going to happen, right? More often than not, you get these breakouts, you're going to get continuation. You get a breakdown like TDOC, you're going to get continuation. But I want to show examples where it doesn't work, because not every setup is perfect. We all know that. And you got to be aware of your risk when you enter some of these trades. And also, intraday, let's kind of see how Google looked around these levels intraday. Choppy, right? Open above, we lose the level. We come back up, cross over it, chop into close. Now, this is a bit of a range trade potential here, guys. Not too bad. But again, a lot of this will come down to your conviction and your thesis. Like, for whatever reason, if you came into the week saying, man, Google looks a little weak to me, maybe there's some bearish flow or catalysts or just volume analysis you're doing that says, I think Google's going to go down this week, then you'd be wanting to look for stuff like this where you get right to that breakout level and just can't quite get through it. Then maybe you'd feel comfortable about taking some puts up here, but this is pretty tricky. You got wicks down, there's buyers stepping in, there's a fight going on here. Eventually it tails off. And you can just see, this is an example of the opposite, right? We gap up over it in pre-market, wicks down, close over, wicks down, close over, wicks down, close over. That's very bullish. This is your breakout level. I actually think I traded this. Was this Thursday? Yeah, I did take a trade down here somewhere for this move back up, based off these wicks down, close over, just respecting that breakout level. So this is why I like these setups. Are you going to get faked out sometimes? Absolutely. And I want to show all sides of that. But a lot of times you get action like this, right at this key level, those wicks that are respecting, right? And it can go both ways. Just depends who's in control that day, buyers or sellers. And even the next day. It's not really going anywhere, but what's it holding? That inside week high breakout. And then we go into Monday, tomorrow, with Google as had broke out over that inside week. And now it's getting ready with an inside day, to try to hold this level again and head higher, right? So that's inside week setups, guys. Hopefully that helps. It's something you can add to your tool belt, your arsenal for trading. Like I said, every Sunday I do a scan. I make a list of maybe 5 to 10 of them, depending on how many there are. And I watch them all week until they come near these triggers, and then I play them. So hopefully that helps, guys. If you have any questions, just let me know. Leave a comment. Find me on Twitter, DM me, whatever, and I'll help you out.